Shalom. I'm going to start off by giving all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And salutations to the brothers that's teaching the truth and sincerity. And shalom to the hopeful elect, 1/3 of sincere listeners. Alright, Yahweh be in the name of the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls God. And Yahweh Shai be in the name of his Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. All right, this gospel, this truth, the kingdom of heaven, salvation is for the Israelites and the Israelites only, who are you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and the ones scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth that may look like the other nations, but your spirit resonates with this truth. You're more than most likely an Israelite through lineage, through going back to the 12 patriarchs on your father's side, through bloodline. All right, this is a bloodline heritage thing. Okay, this is a royal lineage, royal seed line. All right, and part of the curses was that the Israelites would be scattered among different nations, looking like other nations. Okay, but today's topic. Pretty much I want to talk about how, I was just meditating on it, but pretty much, the people of this world are gonna rebel and uprise against their leaders and politicians. All right, so that's what this video is gonna be about. I don't really plan for it to be too long. It's just I was just meditating on it, and pretty much I was also meditating on the fact that the politicians that you see, right, that they have on display, your presidents, your prime ministers, your rulers, so to speak, your modern day kings of today, right, they're like the buffer class for the elite. Okay, so when shit really hits the fan, people are gonna blame the politicians because they think it's the politicians that are calling the shots, right? And that's not the case. It's really the elite banking families that are making things happen. Okay, but they set up, presidents, stuff like that, prime ministers, and to interact with the common people, the commoners. And don't get me wrong, they'll pay them a good, a good wage, so to speak, a good slave wage to do the job. You know what I'm saying? They train them on how to interact with people, how not to crash out, whatever stuff like that. Public relations, PR, and all that stuff. They've been trained and groomed from young for these roles. See what I'm saying? But there's gonna come a time where people are just gonna be fed up with them, and they're gonna want their head. They show you that in Batman, the one with Bane, where they pretty much took justice into their own hands. Okay, putting politicians on trial and stuff like that. Okay, and then pretty much just executing them on the spot. So that's the type of stuff that's gonna come to this society as well. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Honestly, that's just meditating on that. Your leaders, people are gonna want their head, and honestly, you're seeing that a lot right now. Even the assassination attempts on Trump. You see what I'm saying? Well, even though it's we don't more than most likely those are staged, of course, right? Esau's playing semantics and doing bullshit, but it's gonna get actually real. There's actually gonna be people out there that are gonna do these things, and obviously, we're not gonna be the ones doing these things, but we're just talking about these things that are gonna be happening. Okay, we're just here to report and prophesy and tell you what's to come, but that is what's to come. So this is 2 Ezra 15 and 16, and it says, for there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. Okay? So your politicians, your modern day politicians, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power, right? So the Lord is going to give them the power to execute judgment on these individuals, right? When all hell breaks loose, when things are not going people's way, inflation, hyperinflation, this whole great global reset, 2030 agenda and all this stuff, people are going to be rebelling against all that, 15-minute cities, okay? All these things that are going to befall upon the earth, right? That people are not going to be down with, man. Okay? They're simply going to just rebel. And up, and there's going to be uprisings, vigilantes, all type of stuff taking place, man. All right? Second Ezra's, let me get Second Ezra's 9 as well. This is our Second Ezra's 9 and 1. Said, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, thou shalt, right, uproars, that's going to, that's when we're in that time right now. All right, where there's uproars, people complaining. Why? Because there's an unrighteous ruler. Okay, and that's pretty much the theme right now. So Sirach 10. We could bring that out every day, honestly, because we're under a unfit ruler, and we want a righteous ruler. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Right? Like I said, we're just prophesying on these things to come. Okay? For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Okay? And that is being manifested. Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonder and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs. And everyone that shall be saved shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed. Right? And that's the only way we're gonna make it out of here, man. You know what I mean? That's the only way, man. It's faith in our work, faith by faith, just faith, right? Through our works, of course, right? But our acts of charity and all that stuff, all that's gonna be accounted for. The Lord's gonna see that. The Lord's gonna see that we're trying to be better. We're trying to do better, right? We're trying to be better as a whole. Because that's the goal, right? The goal is salvation. You know what I mean? Simple and plain. This is Sirach 40 and 9. It says, death and bloodshed, strife and sword, calamities, famine, tribulation, and the scourge. These things are created for the wicked, and for their sakes came the flood. All right, and then the second flood is going to be a flood of fire. All right, but all these things are created for the wicked, just pretty much judgment. The sword going into war, guns, whatever, nukes, famine, right? That's hell, man. That's hell. You know what I mean? Simple and plain. You know? Simple and plain, man. Let's get this one as well. It's Isaiah 19. I'll start at 1. And I'm going to end it off here. Like I said, I wasn't going to make this too long. It says Isaiah 19:1. It says, the burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord Yahweh rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt, right? So it's power, all right, the chariots, the angels, his army, the Lord of hosts, right? Who's going to be representing him? Yahweh Shai and the angels and the chariots, right? And the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. Okay, and pretty much they're going to be trembling. Okay, going to see the power. Okay, but the Lord's going to put a spirit on them to fight. But they're not, they're going to be fighting, trying to, so to speak, fight the Lord and the angels. But they're going to be scared shitless. They're literally going to be shitting and pissing themselves, vomiting, nose bleeding, but they're going to be fighting. The Lord's going to keep a spirit on them to fight. But the Lord's going to subdue them. The Lord's going to disintegrate them. They're done. Right? But it's just to show their shame. Look at you lying in your own feces. You know what I mean? You piece of shit. Verse 2, this is the point. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. Right? And that's what's coming. You Edomite nations, you're collapsing. You so-called white nations, your Western world, right? The Western nations, NATO nations, EU nations that are run by Edomites, so-called white people. It's going to be in turmoil and disarray. All right? Because you guys don't know how to get along. Right? Verse 3, it says, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail. And really, this is talking about America too. Okay? Because the Egyptians, really, this is New Egypt. So then the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof. Yep. Right? So you destroy the counsel of what? The counsel of the so-called wise, the Temanites, you Edomites, your politicians, right? Your governors, your senators, your lawyers, you know what I'm saying? All of these people, man. A lot of politicians have to take law school. You know what I'm saying? They have to have law degrees and stuff like that. They go to law school, right? Anyways, and they shall seek to the idols, and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. And the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts. That was pretty much the point. You know what I'm saying? Pretty much, Egypt's gonna fall, man. And along with your politicians, whoever is trying to uphold it and keep it up. But yeah, so with that, Lord will, you're edified. I'm gonna say shalom to the next one.